So this Chromosols, as said, is a widely used soil for agricultural production simply because of A, it has a rather nice down to 60 centimeter growing medium sand where plant roots can quickly establish. Within about 5 to 10 centimeters we have this enormously strong contrast, and this is characteristic of the texture contrast soils. Rain during the wet season can infiltrate quickly and saturate the soil. It forms a very nice boundary where the soil moisture can be held over a certain period of time, and within that the plants actually find a very nice and deep rooting growing medium. There is one subsoil constraint which is associated with these soils, and that is the so-called water logging. During the wet season, as we just can see in the background, it has rained in the past couple of weeks continuously, and even while I'm standing here in the pit and talking, water seeps slightly exactly at the boundary. And we can see that when I take just a sample of this area, you can see the water, how it has penetrated and infiltrated this zone. So what happens? It infiltrates, nicely penetrates and wettens up the whole upper part, and then it hits the clay boundary where it gets waterlogged and drained towards the deeper contour lines. That is a subsoil constraint, especially when we have heavy rainfalls over a longer period of time, because then it starts to waterlog. If that happens later in the growing season, the roots, so to say, get wet feet just like I do, and plants don't like it, similar to humans. So this is a constraint and farmers need to be aware of that. So basically what happens during the growing season? So farmers seed and the plants, seedlings emerge and just start to grow, and of course there is an addition of fertilizers and maybe some pesticides and herbicides. So within these upper 15 centimeters, organic matter and also the iron oxide, they form very large surfaces where certain nutrients, for example, can attach and can be released over time. So there is a good storage for nutrients and also for the handling of pesticides or fungicides or whatever might have been applied. However, with chromosols there is one problem as well. Once these fertilizers, the nutrients, when they partly get leached throughout the season into the deeper components, reach this very light colored whitish material. We can see this is basically sand, this is basically quartz sand. So they will be very quickly transported down to the barrier, to the clay barrier and boundary, and then be drained out of the system. So nutrient leaching and also pesticide and herbicide leaching and drainage can be a major subsoil constraint in these soil conditions, and that needs to be taken into consideration when farming throughout this landscape. So if you're not a soil scientist, it will be very important to know and understand where this boundary is, because that's a crucial element in the chromosome. So this boundary, the clay boundary, can be anywhere from about 20 centimeters below the surface to 1.50 meters. If it is 20 centimeters, you might have a serious problem. If it's down at 1.50 meters, that's a very good growing soil.